Dennis Miller Show. I'm the aforementioned Mr. Miller. What's happening this hour? In our next segment, we'll get the latest business news from CapitalistPig.com founder and contributor to Fox News Channel's Cashin' In, Jumpin' Johnny Honig. Sorry, I just flashed on when we were kids. There was a wrestling show in Pittsburgh called Studio Wrestling on Saturday night. And when I said Johnny Honig, it reminded me of one of the wrestlers on there who was a midget wrestler. And that's what they were called then. I know. What is it called now? Little person? Little person from the forest? There's some weird name where I think, geez, I'd rather just get the Midge moniker dropped on me than.
But that's not your decision to make.
I know, but what is it again? Tiny
little
person?
Little person.
Little person. I mean, really? Is there anybody out there who's, well, interestingly enough, the character's name on Studio Wrestling was a little person Native American, I guess. We called him, a midget Indian wrestler named Sky Lolo. But he wasn't anywhere near India. You could just tell. And when I said Johnny Honig, I think that might have been his real name, something like that, from the east side. And he used to run the ropes and fall through the ropes. And, it was very Caligulesque. But times of yore, I know that those are all sins now. But I do remember we used to love the little person Native American wrestlers. And we'll talk to comedian Tom Arnold.
Also a little person.
No, big man. Big
Yeah,
man.
he's actually lost 100 pounds recently.
Oh, really?
To talk about, yes.
Oh, okay. And my favorite Tom stories are when he worked in the butcher house. They used to just have cows coming by 8 hours a day, and he'd have a cleaver, and he'd have to gut them and all that. Can you imagine?
No, I cannot imagine.
It's like you're taking notes in an Eli Roth pitch. 866-509-RANT, 866-509-7268, our phone number. This segment of the show is brought to you by AutoZone. Get some of the money back that you put into your car. Head to AutoZone today for your free AutoZone rewards card. Let AutoZone pay you to shop. Get in the zone. AutoZone. In a previous past, present, future hour, we had Guy Benson on. Christian, was I too rough on Guy?
I think, it was
Should
clear.
I apologize to him?
It was clear you were really frustrated, but
But I'm not frustrated by Guy. He's
No,
a
no,
lovely
yeah.
cat, but we're going to get killed.
Yeah.
Jeez. I guess I shouldn't have taken out on him. So, but I wasn't trying to take it out on him personally. I was just expressing my exasperation.
Yes.
So, Guy Benson, townhall.com. I know you're thinking, what, you're like Joe Bologna in My Favorite Year, buying him some tires now by throwing him the plug on the blog?
Would you like me to send him some tires?
Can we get him on the phone and I can apologize? Do you have his phone number?
We can call him if you like, sure.
I'll hold. I'm not doing anything here.
Well, we've
call him while I sing War Pigs. Ready?
Did you, a cappella? Unaccompanied?
Yeah, I'm just going to do it a cappella. I'm going to do a little jazzy, a little Joe Williamsy, a little scatty. And you call up Guy, and I'll apologize. Maybe he can even come in on the end of the song. Just it'll take a second. I'll just say, Guy, I'm just so damn exasperated. But sorry, you're a good guy, and I like you, and I didn't want to take it out on you. You ready? You dial while I work. A 1 and a 2. Generals gathered in their masses, not solo, just like witches at black masses. Evil minds, the plot destruction, shun. Hey, wait, I'm working a cappella here. Stop that. Sorcerer of deconstruction. In the fields, the body's burning. Ooh, that's hot. As the war machine keeps turning, grease the wheels. Oh, Lord, now, do. Everybody up, dance like Nomi and Showgirls. There's a guy. Hey, Guy. Dennis.
Oh, hello, Dennis.
I just wanted to say that I like you so much, and I'm exasperated. And in our last hour, I thought it might be coming out that I was rough on you. I think you're an exemplary human. I'm so sick of watching creeps win that I guess I've been pushed to some sort of I don't know. You shouldn't have suffered through that. I like you a lot, Guy, and I think you're a super smart guy. And if we have guys like you running it, I'm sure everything will work out right.
Well, that's very kind of you to say, and there's no apology needed whatsoever, although I will now put the brakes on a vicious attack ad I was producing against you.
You're right, Guy. Touche, my friend. Touche. Handled with the degree of panache that I knew he would. We'll talk at you down the road, brother, and sorry I was cranky.
Sounds good. Not a problem at all.
All right. Good guy. Huh? I've met Guy on the road. I met him with Beck one night. And the thing about he came in right after Beck.
Yeah.
Beck came in with Red and Sonny West. That's how deep the entourage was.
Oh, yeah. No, he rolls usually 5 deep.
Yeah, and Guy just sort of saunters up to you, and he's alone. And the handsome kid, very charismatic, he says, "Hey, I'm Guy Benson." You would have never known. He's like 8 years old.
Yes, exactly. he's like Wally Cleaver.
The smartest 8-year-old on the block. All right, we'll be back. We're going to talk to Johnny Honig, see what's up with this darn economy. Dennis Miller Show. Of course, is Michael Winslow Unplugged. That's not an actual horn.
No.
That, Winslow, from the Police Academy films. Simu horning. I'll tell you, if I was betting futures markets, I'd bet Michael Winslow's Simu sacks.
I know I would.
Joining us now, show accountant, financial advisor, all-around good cat. His website is capitalistpig.com, and you can follow Jonathan on Twitter at Jonathan Honig, and that's Jonathan, not O-N-A-N, Honig, Hoenig. How are you, my friend?
Well, I'm concerned, Dennis.
Why is that?
I'm concerned.
Why? The economy under the firm hand on the tiller of the brilliant Barack Obama, in addition to Ben Bernanke dropping an $80 billion per month bath salt into the water, is fizzing. Why are you concerned?
No, Dennis, I'm not concerned about the economy. I'm concerned about you.
Oh, what's happening?
I heard your interview with Guy, and do you need to talk to somebody? Can I refer you to somebody?
No, I feel great. I'm just pulling back from the public life. Not that I lead a public life, but I'm not paying as much attention, and I realize that many people on our side are, I don't know, everybody's happy, and I was finding myself to be the one guy who says, this isn't good what's going on. And I thought, you were in the minority. You must be missing the point. Stay out of it. So I'm more out of it. I feel good, Jonathan. I'm not even kidding you, but I'm...
Well, I get it. I mean, sometimes you need to disengage. But don't become a malevolent person. Keep being a benevolent person. Look around the world we live in, and get off of Obozo for a moment, and just look at the technology, the miracles that every day are in this country, and be thankful, as I know you.
Oh, I thought you were teasing about worrying about me. You're actually worried about me. I'm in good shape. I have to do a radio show, though. You realize that you got to kind of roll. Well, go ahead.
Well, no, I mean, I just look at this country, look how wonderful we are. Be so thankful that, every day you're not in, yes, Obama, blah, 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 but you know what? We're not in tribalist Africa. We're not in Ukraine. We can express ourselves. We can go to a Whole Foods and buy any vegetable under the sun. You can hang with your friends. You can buy anything you've ever wanted, any magazine that's ever been published through Amazon. So I'm frustrated about the politics, Dennis, but, we still live in the greatest country in the greatest time in the history of mankind. So don't spend it being so malevolent and down about the world. That's all I'm saying.
Right, I don't, but it would probably... There's no way I can argue with you. But I'm pretty happy right now. I appreciate you listening to the segment before you and telling me not to be unhappy in my life. But, like I said, it's a moot point.
Yeah.
I'll try, Guy. I'll try to follow your advice.
There's a lot of good
stuff in the world.
One of which has been a pretty good run for the stock market. And I know what you're going to say. It's just Ben Bernanke. It's just financial hocus pocus. Some of that may be true, but it's no question that there's a lot of companies innovating, creating values, producing tremendous values. Just look to the mighty Midwest. I mean, the unemployment rate in North Dakota is 2.5%. It's not because of stimulus; it's because of fracking. That's making a lot of energy prices really low right now. So there's good things happening in this country, despite Washington, not because of it.
I hear a lot of optimism, Jonathan. I'm glad you're happy, and thus I will be happy because you want me to be happy. Let's go on with some other things.
I can't make you happy. You need to be happy, and I'm just here to, as you said, I want you to get by with a little help from your friends. I want to be one of those friends.
Let's talk about the S&P 500, John. It's on its first 6-day win streak since September. There's great news.
I'm not buying it from you.
I don't know what to do, Jonathan. Just tell me what you want me to do with the rest of the interview. I don't quite know what to do.
I am happy about it, Dennis. I'm happy that the market's up. I think that, there's a lot of positive signs about the economy. The market being up is one of them. There's tremendous innovation going on in this economy. I mean, I don't know if you happen to see, and you know what? The market's working. The guy from the gentleman, what is his name? Med Kafazi won the Boston Marathon. You know what? Shares of the shoe he wore, the Skechers shoe, jumped on that news. So, markets are working. You can buy, Dennis, now an IPO in an NFL star. Vernon Davis is actually going public, not at the New York Stock Exchange, but on a new type of basically entertainer exchange, sports star exchange, where you can buy a piece of Vernon Davis's future revenues. So there's innovation going on. There's great things going on in this country. You just need to, and I think you're right, you need to pull yourself out of the day-to-day headlines and look at the bigger picture. And I am bullish. I'm absolutely bullish on America, and I own stocks in America. I own real estate in this country, and I don't think there's any other place in the world besides Egypt that I'd want to put my money right now. The
absolute best. We're talking to Jonathan Honig, his website, capitalistpig.com. You can follow Jonathan on Twitter at Jonathan Honig. Dow Transport's hit a record. That's a great sign, huh?
Well, it's good for Warren Buffett. I mean, he was pretty shrewd. Now, here's a perfect example of, Warren Buffett is a big interest in railroads, Dennis, and it's a perfect example of how businessmen are sometimes great at making money, but not always great at politics. So Warren Buffett bet big on railroads, and transportation stocks in general are absolutely doing really well. It's so easy to kind of take your eye off the bigger picture, and I even remember back in the Internet days, after that bubble burst, there was a sense, Dennis, of how are we ever going to get past it? How are we ever going to kind of move on from that? And I think the market is. I think the economy is. I think the economy is starting to look past some of the interventions and some of the destructive elements of the last few years. And the fact that a lot of these indices are at all-time highs is one good sign.
Yeah. Now, listen, I don't want to send you into something. I'm going to deviate for 1 second here and ask you about something that might not be great, but I don't need the lecture. The unemployed. I just noticed that is the new unemployment rate right around 7% going to be our new normal? And once again, Brido asking you that. I know you're feeling full piss and vinegar today, but that's not a great. Is that? Just let me ask you. Get out of your way. Is that the new normal, or should I be? Should I be good with that?
It completely depends on government. I mean, Dennis, in France, where they have all these strict, minimum wages and restrictions on hiring and firing, they've had over 10% unemployment for decades. So, in a free economy, as you know, there is an unlimited amount of jobs.
So we're 3 to the positive.
That could be created. Well,
are we or aren't we? I don't know what your laughing means. You're saying now, listen, I had this talk with Ben Stein once, and it takes one call for me to adjust to a guy for going from, wow, this is not what Ayn Rand would have fancied, to it's all great guns. And I assume that you have some investments that you need to be bullish on. But I'm being serious when you say that Europe's at 10%, we're at 7, we're 3 in the plus, right?
Yes, but whether we go up to 10, 15, or 20, or down to 4, 3, 2, and 1, where I think we can be, is totally dependent on government. I think that's the point we need to keep reinforcing, is that, you say is 7% the new normal. It doesn't have to be. If people are left free to pursue their self-interest, to create jobs, to make money, to achieve a profit, there's no reason why the unemployment rate has to be at 7%.
Well, I heard President Obama say that in a speech the other day, and I haven't been listening to him in a few years because I think he kind of is I don't think he's a truth teller on that. But now, listen, you're somebody I respect. If you're telling me now you're echoing the president's feeling that they're all about getting out of the way, I feel good. But grant me one phone call where I say, wow, Jonathan's, it's like a body snatcher pod took over him. But things are good now, and it has nothing to do with Bernanke. And we're at 7%. It could be worse. It could be at 10. And it's all freeing up, and it's the man at the head. But it just took me. It didn't even take me a whole call to get used to the new approach. I'm with you now, Jonathan.
Well, I don't know if you are, but I'm bullish on this country, Dennis. I really am. Now, I don't credit the president, but
who else would you credit? He's in charge for 6 years.
Well, I mean, I don't know what hand the president had in delivering me my Amazon songs this morning, or serving me a hot, fresh cup of coffee for a price below the cost of inflation. He had really no hand in that. So what I'd like to do, and I know you'd like to do, is get him to step away. Where we're losing the battle, and I hope you'd echo this as well, is on the moral side. So when the president says, Dennis, you've got a lot of money, you can afford to pay X, Y, Z more. I think we need, not you, I think we as Americans need to get better at saying, listen, I made this money, I earned this money, and it's not yours to redistribute. And you're seeing it, we've talked about it, Dennis, in California, where people with money are leaving the state.
Johnny, I'm up against the break, but I want to say you're one of my go-to guys, and it's gangbusters. I feel happier getting off the call. Thanks for leading me to it. Dennis Miller Show. Dennis Miller Show. God, that was awkward. I felt like I was paying immediate karma comeuppance for being so hangdog with a guy.
I can't wait to hear you talk to Tom Arnold.
Well, listen, when Jonathan said, I'm worried about you, I think you need help at the beginning, I was thinking, my joke thing went off. I said, okay, watch where he takes it. Then make a self-deprecating joke.
Yeah.
But then when he hung on it, I thought, I guess Jonathan thinks I need help. And then that got awkward, so I tried to get a little happy talk to move the interview along. And then he didn't like that, and that's when I said to him, just tell me what you want me to do, John. I don't quite know what to do. But certainly in the past, Jonathan's been more adherent to his sort of objectivist leanings. And what I take away from that is he's no longer shorting the market, I guess. So now he's in the robust thing, and it took me a while to adjust to it. But tell him next time I'm on, Christian, I'll do the complete softball thing, about how good it's all going. And I don't know. That gave me a little bit of hivish behavior there. And John, I know you continue to listen. No worries, no big thing. I'm just saying that was so awkward. All right, 866-509-7268, our phone number. I've made a general note to myself to more happy talk in the interviews. I think I might be getting a little too real here, and I don't think it's serving anybody, particularly me. So I will. I'll work on my happy talk for the future and make it sound less like I don't mean my happy talk. I think that's what my career is being summoned to right now. All right, a little later in the hour, we'll be joined by Tom Arnold. I'm sure he's got something incredible happening. I'll be performing at the Orleans Casino and Hotel in Las Vegas, June 13th and 14th. For more information, go to DennisMillerRadio.com and click on Dennis Live. What are we doing now? Taking phone calls until we chat up Tommy Arnold. So we got a segment here. Anything you want to talk about, anything your little heart desires at 866-509-7268. Absolutely heart-wrenching Los Angeles Kings loss last night. You're not watching the hockey, are you, Christian?
I'm watching enough in the way of the highlights to know that,
gosh, we had them pinned in that overtime. I thought, okay, guys, get this in because you don't want one of those things. That's what happens in hockey. If they hold you back at the barricades, if they do the Les Mis thing, invariably they come down. They had two shots last night that were like Stu Miller's, curveball. They were ephus pitches, Rip Sewell, and, really floaters that made it in past a great goalie, Mike Quick. Ironically, the shots were too slow for Quick. They threw him off speed, and he was swinging on the change. But heartbreaking loss. And I guess I have to steel myself here and hope the Kings do a great comeback. And can they win 4 in a row? Does that ever happen? We got a hockey expert out there. Can somebody come back from 3-0, or is it just over now? But last night,
I think somebody could come over, but not a team that gave up 13 goals in the first two games.
Yeah, but last night they won that game. They lost it. I don't want to do that.
It, though.
Yeah, that's stupid. I get pissed when people do that, so I get pissed at myself there. They lost the game, but they played much better. All right, let's go to the phone lines. Carl in New Hampshire. Hey, Carl, how are you?
I'm doing great, and I just wanted to tell you the first time in 7 years I've actually made popcorn during the show.
I don't know how to be anymore, Carl. I do know this. I am going to get more in the happy talk business because I watch these guys careening through these shows. I won't say names because I like a lot of them, but there's a lot of repetitive stuff going on some other shows, and I always think to myself, yeah, sure, I repeat a story here and there, but I try to bring it in each day and say, how you feeling today? Translate that to the show and try to be hyper honest, and it's not a good play, man. It just gets too awkward.
I don't know. Well, listen, it's refreshing for me to hear someone react mostly exactly how I would react. If some people don't get that some of us can be happy and have good lives and still be exasperated, we have to call BS when we see BS, because when you stop doing that, it takes a chunk of me away. Last night I see postal workers throwing packages from their car. One guy who threw away 45,000 pieces of mail. This is the inept, pathetic institution that us taxpayers have bailed out countless times. What? I can't be exasperated when I see that?
Well, I know they do that play where they translate out, but it was surprising me from Jonathan. I do not feel I help. I guess he means a psychiatrist. I'm really happy. And honest to God, if I wasn't on the radio every day, and I won't be on the radio my whole life, let's face facts, nobody does everything forever, I won't pay any attention to this stuff. But I have to for purposes of chatting about it on a day-to-day basis. But you know, when somebody else changes, I think they think that the whole thing has changed. Now, whatever has happened in Jonathan's life, I don't know him enough, but he's a sweet guy. He's a smart guy. He always brings us great sandwiches and pizza. I mean, he's a lovely cat. But something's changed there. I didn't realize it had changed till halfway through the interview. But that whole thing about, no, you need to get some help. I'm really worried about you. I can only go so far with that joke, and then I want to say to him, no, I don't need help. And then I think, you're on the radio with a stranger insisting to him that you don't need help, and he's reticent to believe in it. It gets too awkward. Anyway, Carl, good to talk to you. Where are you performing this weekend?
I am down at Lots of Laughs in North Andover this Saturday night. Thanks, man. And by the way, I'll sit down with a legal pad any day with you. You can have the couch.
Thank you, my friend. There you go.
All right.
I would trust Carl.
I think we all should trust Carl. Carl, by the way, will be joining you in the New York studio when you're there
beautiful.
next week. Yes.
Oh, he's one of my. Is he coming down for the whole show or just an hour? What are we going to do?
I think it'll be an hour because of the travel of Mr. Zahn. But
No, I always enjoy seeing Carl, and that'll make me happy. But really, I'm telling you the truth, folks, when I tell you that in my day-to-day life I'm happy. And part of radio, I don't feign stuff, but certainly you understand that radio is sort of a Sardi's caricature about your inner dialogue, and that you have to make it entertaining. And I also think that there is a way to teach lessons. It's almost like an inverted Socratic oath where when I chide women about being soft, I always think this will anger them enough that in this next election, they won't let the Sandra Flukes of the world represent them. And that I have to rethink my drink here, as they say in the trade. I can see that a lot of this should be done in some sort of rote or something. But when I listen to radio, honest to God, I'm just doing what I find interesting. I like radio that is sometimes seamless, sometimes funny, sometimes informative, sometimes amazingly awkward. People have told me from Minnie Guggenheim on that doesn't work in radio. I've continued to do it. It seems we're doing pretty well. But I can see it does bring its own particular headaches with it. Let's go to Larry in South Carolina. Hey, Larry, how are you?
Shalom, aloha.
Aloha, shalom to you, my brother. Good.
You fill the air better than anybody, bar none.
Thank you, my friend.
Better than any.
Well, thank you, Larry. That's nice of you.
Listen, you were speaking about midget wrestling earlier. It brought back some fond memories. I'm a contemporary of yours. I was 10 years old in 1960. I used to go to the wrestling matches in Baltimore with my grandfather, who swore they were legit. Well, I got to tell you, when the women wrestled with the midgets, even at the age of 10, highly erotic.
It was crazy.
Even at 10 years of age. Do you remember Bruno Sammartino?
Oh, Well, I met Bruno. He signed something for me. He's one of the classiest guys ever, man. When Bruno would come in a suit in Pittsburgh, it was called studio wrestling. He'd come in on Saturday night and sit down with Bill Cardille, Chili Billy Cardille, and he would bring his young aide-de-camp, Johnny DeFazio, with him, and they were the clean guys, the good guys. Man, he was my biggest hero after Roberto Clemente.
Yeah, I got his autograph, and I also got, you'll remember this, Bobo Brazil.
Bobo Brazil,
with
man.
a cocoa butt. My father was a quasi-racist. Well, when Coco hit him with that hard head, they stayed down.
Bobo was the biggest black guy I've ever seen, folks.
Biggest black guy ever. One last thing. I had a coming-of-age moment when I was 10 at the wrestling match. I saw these guys, what I thought, destroying each other in the ring. I happened to peek toward the back of the Coliseum. The door opened, and they're in the back where they hung out together, hugging and jostling around. The same guys who would kill me. I rushed back to my grandfather and say, Grandpa, they're friends. He got furious. He said, no, it's legit. To the day he died.
Well, see, I love that stuff. You know what? I love that people. I don't know. It was a great.
Politically incorrect. It was wonderful. How about the diving horse at Atlantic City?
Yeah. Can you imagine that today? They would make sure that the horse was on a skydiver's back, and he popped a safety chute halfway down. The world's gotten better. Let's put it that way in quotes. Spangulary in South Carolina. Bobo Brazil. Oh, my God. What memories. All right, we're going to take a break. We'll come back, and we're going to talk to Tom Arnold. Christian tells me he's dropped 100. And you don't mean a divorce, do you, Christian?
No, I do not.
Tommy, I remember Tommy at one point dropped 200 in one fell swoop. Space of a day. Maybe 210.
I was going to say something, but it's not worth the headache. So, we'll just go to break.
Dennis Miller Show. The American Eagle is a sight to behold, but never more than when it's embedded in gold. The top-selling gold coin in the world is the gold American Eagle, which moves independently of stocks and bonds and consistently holds its value and delivers investment stability. If it's time to add this beautiful coin to your portfolio, Blanchard & Company is who you call. Blanchard & Company has a long and distinguished history of outstanding customer service. So much so, they stake their reputation on it. They offer a 100% buyback guarantee to purchase your investment back at any time. Call 888-360-GOLD. That's 888-360-GOLD. Or go to BlanchardGold.com to learn more. That's 888-360-GOLD. 888-360-GOLD for the premier authority in precious metals and rare coins. Call 888-360-GOLD. Blanchard.
Don't complain about your cape.
Tommy Arnold now has the silhouette of a bullfighter. Extremely svelte. It's Herb Albert Bumper Music Wednesday here on the show. Love me some Herb Albert. Tommy, how are you, my friend?
Good, buddy. How you doing, man?
I'm happy for you. Down 100, Tom. What was the epiphany? What light bulb went off?
Well, the epiphany was I had a baby, my first child, and I realized that I was 54 and 100 pounds overweight, and that probably that was probably not good dad weight for me at that time if I wanted to play with my kid for a couple of years. So I just started paying attention to what, you care what your kids eat. And once you have a kid, I mean, it kind of changes, as you know, everything. You pay attention to what they eat.
Right.
I never paid attention to what I ate because I grew up on a farm. I worked at a meat packing plant for 3 years. From Iowa, we eat what we eat. And then I just started, reading some labels here or there and cut down on the bread and the sugar, and that's it. I mean, it's nothing. I'm not on a diet. I eat meat. I eat a lot of meat. I do what I always did. I'm a little more careful. I like the organic stuff. I'm a farmer. I like the organic stuff, and that's it.
I think it's a good sign, a good tell for a father that he has to lose some weight when you and the wife are laying on the bed with the kid in between you, and the kid reaches over to the husband to breastfeed.
Exactly. Well, I swear to you, there were a couple times when the kid started kind of sucking on my shirt, and I was like, okay, this is embarrassing. Well, when you're big like that, and you got the kid in between, you're like, what if I roll over? I mean, you get that crazy, those thoughts that go through your head. And since I did grow up and I worked with pigs my whole life, you see these giant sows with their little babies, and you constantly are, first of all, you got to keep them alive because that's how you make your money.
Right.
But you're like, how do they not roll over? And then that visual is you when you become a father. You're like, I'm this giant pig, and I'm about to roll over my kid.
Nobody comes from a more proletariat base than Tom Arnold.
Absolutely.
Tom's got some gigs coming up. Side Splitters Comedy Club in Tampa this weekend.
Yes, very excited. It's a great place. It's so fun doing. About 5 years ago, I started really working at it again. And, I started out as a comedian, and I love it. The travel, it's okay.
Well, you always had strong chops, Tommy. Even when I didn't know you, and you were married to Rosie, and it was a bit of I didn't quite know what to make of the whole thing. I do remember watching your chops, like Louie, and they're just guys who have nice moves on stage, and I always dug your moves, man.
Well, you said something cool to me many years ago. It really stuck with me. You said, "Oh, I get it. If there's a joke to be made about you, you're going to be the one that makes it." Instead of, because when I first came on the scene, I would watch Letterman and all these other people. They would do jokes about me. Then I realized, wait a minute, I should be doing those jokes about me before they do. And you said, "Oh, that's so smart." And I have to say this about you. You, I've always, I think you're one of the finest comedians ever, for sure in my generation, but ever. But you also got into two fields which takes a lot of balls. I don't know if I can say it on your show. Politics, but also sports. And anytime people are like, okay, politics, I get it, people have different sides, but going in and doing Monday Night Football, being involved in the sports world is more treacherous than getting involved in politics.
Boy, Tom, I can't tell you, it's the most politically correct field that I have ever been in my life. It's a minefield over there. Because especially in the NFL, at the end of the day, they realize that there are 32 men who own teams, and they're white on white.
Yes.
And everybody who plays for them and has to careen into each other at a high rate of speed is black. And the whole place is just one big politically correct minefield because they're afraid that they'll kill the golden goose. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So it's an interesting place to be. Let me also tell you, on May 2nd and 3rd coming up, Tom will be at the Laugh House in Bloomington, Illinois, not Indiana, Bloomington, Illinois, and May 16th and 17th at the Toledo Funny Bone. Tom, I haven't worked in a comedy club in a while, just because I don't know if my chops are up to it anymore. What do you notice new about the crowds than from when we were doing it originally?
Well, I notice I care more if the clubs, because there's some clubs are better than others, and some are very organized, and some they have the crowds know, oh, we're coming here for comedy. It's not to just see a celebrity or whatever it is, and that feels good. I mean, there's nothing, and I'm saying this, if I could play giant stadiums, I'm sure I would, but there's nothing better audience-wise than the 350 people. It's even, the casinos, and I do those too, and they're great. But there's something going on when you get into a club like this club in Tampa that they know they're going there to see comedy. They've seen comedians. They know what to do. The club knows how to run it. It's just that feeling. And a lot of other actors, they do plays and stuff, because they're like me. I decided I didn't want to do every crappy movie that's offered. I'll just do half of them now. But I'm going to go on the road the first 6 months of the year, and that allows me to do that, and I love it.
Do you remember Robert Wall used to do that great joke, Tom, where he'd say, "This film was so bad, I'm shocked I wasn't in it."
Yes, exactly. But I honest to God got offered Sharknado 2, and then I went, okay. Because, my thing, too, is I will figure out reasons to do stuff, to say yes, instead of a lot of people try to figure out reasons to say no, and they have these magnificent careers. I will always try to find a reason to say, oh, yeah, there's a producer that 30 years ago, he produced this one movie, it was good. Oh, yeah, I'll do that. That'll turn out great. And that's how you do 120 movies, but it's also how like 5 of them are good. But I also, growing up in Iowa, the work,
Tommy, you worked in a slaughterhouse, for God's sakes.
So you got to work, you got to get up and slaughter something.
How bad can a movie be when you've been on a Ford assembly line all day with bovine carcasses, for God's sakes? Every film looks like the Palm d'Or.
That's true, and I got to say, being in Hollywood and have come from a meatpacking plant and actually respect that and respect the people that do it and love it and trying to have these conversations with people out here so that they're horrified. It's like as though I was some kind of murderer for 3 years.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
They don't get that there's a love that farmers to respect, and it's also, it was just Passover, and you do all the Passover traditions, and part of that is about the respect for the animal and the sacrifice that they make for us. And I think I know farmers have that, and they love it.
Animals make good eating too. Let's just boil it down.
Let's be honest.
They make good eating.
Selfish. I need my meat.
I always love the idea of you and Arnold sitting there, Arnold with a big Cohiba lit, looking at you saying, Tommy, tell me about the slaughterhouse.
Exactly. Of course he loves it.
Now, how are you turning up in Supermensch? Well, I know Shep. Are you good friends with Shep?
Oh, yeah, very good. Known him for over 30 years. We're touring around with it. Mike Myers directed.
Right.
He did a brilliant job. There's many people in it, and Shep's had this amazing career, and it's a very sweet film, and we're very excited.
We're talking about Shep Gordon, folks. There's a new documentary out called Supermensch, The Legends of Shep Gordon. And Shep has told me Teddy Pendergrass stories that just make me howl. Alice Cooper stories.
Yes.
And did he? I hear he went back out to the islands, right? Didn't he come to the mainland and get married? But it was over, and he went back, right?
He got married over there, and then it was over, and that's in there, and that's a funky situation. But you know what, Mike? Mike just had his second kid, Mike Myers, and I had my son, and I think the thinking is, boy, Shep would be this great father because he's taken care of so many people in his life.
Yeah, Shep's a good guy.
You hope that. Yeah, he's a great guy.
Shep used to roll out, folks, and then he would wander down to the Maui Marriott and the water park, find a lunch date, and then wander back.
That is true. I had the Teddy Pendergrass story. He managed him and everything with Teddy, and then Teddy had that terrible accident, and then they talked about a comeback, and Teddy, it was a Live Aid, and Teddy was in his wheelchair, and Shep had set it all up, and he was about to go out, and Teddy goes, I can't do this, and Shep goes, guess what, I'm pushing you out on stage. I'm going to leave you there. Do what you want, man.
There's a lot of interesting tales. Thanks, Tom, for your time. Dennis Miller Show.